Welcome everyone to the Island Life Podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 47 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 10 seasons under her belt, Anne.
Hello, everybody.
And this time, we come with yet another special guest. I get to introduce all of you to the hotshot Survivor fan, Chris.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome to the show, and I'm sure everyone's dying to learn how you earned this nickname of the hotshot. So let's have you tell everyone, what is your Survivor experience?
Sure. Back when Survivor first came out, I used to watch it nightly with my parents for the first 8 or 10 seasons, and then just for some reason stopped watching it. And then this past September, my wife and I had a baby, and we had a ton of time off, so we binge watched a bunch of seasons on Hulu, which led us up to, I think, like from season 17, 18, 19 to 27, but it was like every other season. It was kind of odd. And then from 27 on to 41, we're currently on. And then we watched 47 and 48 live. So it's kind of a smattering of episodes here, or seasons.
Is that like 30 seasons, 8 months or something? I'm trying to do the mental math here.
Yeah, it's a lot. It was a lot, which is probably why we're stalling out on 41.
I don't think anyone is going to lose sleep over you taking your time with that one.
Yeah, the new era is definitely different. I will say,
and
watching season 47 live, as we were like kind of watching some of the older seasons, was or actually for myself having like the old Survivor knowledge, there was so much new stuff, and my wife was like, "What's this? What's this?" I'm like, "I have no idea." So then now going back to it, it's like, I see they changed a lot in season 41. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they
That must have
definitely
been
rehashed a
explosion.
lot, like, of things. In 41 onwards, they have so much, like, new things, but then it starts becoming, like, it's funny because they're all like, "Oh my gosh, it's so exciting," and it's like, you definitely watched those last 3 seasons, like, you know what's going on.
There was I think one of the first episodes they talked about the shot in the dark and the journey, and I'm like, and the
yes.
beware advantage. I'm like, what are these things? I just know there's idols, there's challenges, and that's it. And I was like, what is all this new stuff? It's like, where's the rice too? There's no rice.
Where's the rice? Well, my question is, Chris, are you a fan of The Shot in the Dark? What are your thoughts about it? Because I'm a certified
Um,
hater.
I don't. It was cool that it worked this season. Um,
Oh, yeah, for Mary.
but I don't know. It's not a huge fan of it.
Not a fan. Would you
But
be more
but
of a
remember,
Yes, yes.
remember though that this is interesting. Chris's perspective is only 47, 48, and 41 for Shot in the Dark, right?
Okay.
So whereas your sample size is pretty much all the new era
That's
seasons.
true. That's true. I feel like, again, I would like it more if it was a 4-sided dice.
Oh no,
Wait,
no.
wait, what?
Make the odds like 1 in 10, like 1 in 20.
What? Wait,
Oh,
that's so no way.
as a like first like a perspective of a fan watching the show, like, you know, we get pretty excited about watching the show every week. And like sometimes there's just one person in the show that I cannot stand for the life of me. And they could be a great person, sure, whatever, but I don't want them in the show anymore. And if they happen to use their shot in the dark and get to stay in the show an extra week because of pure chance, it burns me up.
Wow, so
'Cause
yours is the total opposite of mine.
But obviously there's the opposite of, yeah, there could be someone you really like in the show and they use their shot in the dark and it saves them, and then they go on farther like Mary. Like she used her, should have probably been gone, or she would have been gone if it didn't work, and then She was an entertaining contestant for sure.
Yeah, sad to see her go for this episode.
Eh,
It was interesting. She went
Seinfeld's fine.
scorched earth.
Oh, wait, Will, did you not like Mary? Because I was told Chris actually liked Mary.
I mean, it's just that she was unable to be like a main character like the entire time. She's always like the complement to a storyline. Like she was the good guy in the battle against Say, and then she was briefly with I forget all the I vote out second. Who's there? Forget like Kevin or someone back there. Eventually, she's with David. Then she tries to participate in the revolution,
Ugh,
and then
the
finally,
revolution.
this episode, with she being the only person left, she's finally like her main character. But it's too late.
Since we're talking about Mary, I just gotta double check. Is everyone standing right now? Because I think we're supposed to be standing. Because I don't know if you guys saw what David was doing.
Oh my
Just
gosh, yes.
standing.
I didn't know what he was doing.
That was so strange.
What was he doing? I've never seen a jury stand like that.
Couldn't tell you.
I was like when you stand up like to like I don't know, like a veteran's walking past and you show respect. But even then, that's like you do that at a stadium or something, not just.
Usually people join in when you do it too, and he was just kind of by himself.
And he is, and then
I
you
wanna
can
know-
see Star like trying to hold it in, like don't laugh right now. This is
Chrissy
serious
too.
stuff. Yeah.
I want to know what Jeff was thinking when that happened. They're like, "What is this? What is he doing?" I wish he would have called him up and be like, "Can you sit, please?"
There's a chance that happens to be honest, because like not off camera, but not included in the edit will be like quiet there. Like if the jury's supposed to be silent, so that can happen. So maybe afterwards he's like, "What are you doing?" But I mean, it's very dramatic, and it just makes you think back to the ex-girlfriend if they were to see him standing for another woman. That
Oh
if
my
there was any,
gosh,
if
right?
there was any hope, that hope is gone.
It was so
Wait.
bizarre. You
It
get
was-
the intense staring, and then you get standing.
And his mewing, like his face, like he sucks in his like cheeks, and then his like arms are buffed in, like, standing up. He looks so out of place. Like if you told me you photoshopped him in there, I would believe you. I would believe that like production just photoshopped him in this scene because it was so weird and out of place.
Yeah,
I al-
I've never seen anything like that. That was but and also like it's not really part of any story. Like it could have, like if there was nothing to lead me to believe in the show that this would happen, and now that it happened, there's nothing telling me what I should think about it. So it's just random.
It is. And I just don't get why he did it. Like it felt like, was it him standing being like, hey, that was respectful. You played a respectful game, Mary. Like you did what you can. You stayed alive. And it's like, is that what he's trying to do? I don't know. I also feel like, did I miss the part with them being close? Like, when did this all started? Like out
We're
of nowhere.
close for a quarter of an episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of nowhere, Mary is like, you should just take down Camilla. And David's just like, yes, Camilla, we're doing it. What she said. And I'm just like, what's happening right now? Did I miss like 5 episodes of relationship making here?
It's certainly
was-
possible. It
it's
feels
wild to
like
me.
stuff that's probably gonna come out. Like there's also a chance that like there's a very good explanation for it that it doesn't matter to the overall story that we didn't see, or like there's a couple different wild theories that I'm sure are out there right now. We might have like a leading theory, but like after a few weeks, once everybody is fully released, they can all players can talk about everything. We'll probably hear about like, oh, everyone was against Mary from the beginning. David's the only one that's a buyer, or the inverse, whatever. So we'll see.
Yeah, I thought it'd be
I
pretty cool if Mary won. Not gonna lie, it would've been crazy, but
I
I
did
didn't
I
think she would.
I did tell Ange a few weeks ago that Mary was my dark horse to win. Like, not that I wanted her to win, just like I, for some reason, could see a way of her like making it to the end because her whole starting tribe was gone, and it seems like the early seasons of Survivor that I watched, it's the tribes that came into the merge with the least amount of people usually ended up making it to the end because the tribe that had the bigger number was always like, "Oh, we can pick them off later. Let's get rid of this person who we don't like." And then they end up dividing themselves up. And then that small tribe just carries. And I was like, maybe someone's going to do that with Mary. And then Mary will become the mastermind behind the whole thing. But
I mean,
obviously that didn't happen.
we could have been that. I mean, in the world where David doesn't have a correct paranoia like freak out, then maybe he stays with the big majority, and therefore Mary stays with the big majority, and then who knows where that leads if it implodes, and then Mary's like the last one standing. It's possible. Her problem was always gonna be like, what did you do? And she never got a chance to even try to do anything because, as she explained, every close ally she had would just instantly be removed, which left her with no power. So it would have been. But again, I guess in that timeline, she would have had David for longer. So maybe they did do something together. So better than my winner pick, Star, which I thought
Star.
I thought there's kind of similar thinking, like in the shadows, but like the words she said, I was like, like she has a correct view of the game. Okay, she doesn't have friends yet, but we'll see how this goes. And he was getting lots of screen time. Like, all right. And then the moment I locked that in, to my horror, was when she's like, "Thanks, Eva, for solving my idol. In fact, here you go. I'm just gonna hand it to you." I'm like, no, no, how could this happen?
Which like they hated. Or like I'm pretty sure Star and Eve hated each other at the beginning. Or at least didn't like each other. I don't know
Yeah, in
as
the
far as they hated,
beginning,
but
for
they did not
sure.
like each other. They were not friends.
No,
And
but
then
I
all of a
thought
sudden
this
she's
was
like,
the
"Here you go."
moment. I thought like this was the moment where they like let bygones be bygones. Like let's form something. And I think that like I don't know. I feel like I really like Eva, but I feel like as episodes go on, you start to like as I start to get a little annoyed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like where's the respect, Eva? Like this idol that you have so much power over is given to you by Star. Like she did not have to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was not like I think it's just a huge blunder by Star. I think like she was not in Eva's alliance. I don't think there was an understanding. There was no like verbal contract that like we're aligned now. It was more like
Ah, yeah.
feel good, everyone's kumbaya. But then like there were no actual strategic conversations after that, and it's turned out to matter a little bit, but like in that there's always the threat she has an idol, but let's get into the main attraction because the reason it hasn't come up that often is because every person who was not part of the original 5-person alliance and now currently a 4-person alliance, all those outsiders who outnumbered them at a time, never for like 5 episodes in a row could never execute any strategy to strike at them.
That's unbelievable. Like, they had so much numbers, and I had so much hope that like, not that I want the great big group to win in a way, but at the same time, like, come on, start the revolution. Do it, guys. Like, you can do it. We got, like, Mitch, we got Mary, Camilla, and we got Star at that time. They could have made changes, but no, we didn't. And, it stinks. I feel like a lot of them were just scared of going into rocks, and they just end up being like, "You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna live another day," which is what Mary was doing most of this episode, in the beginning at least. It's like, "Hey, pull me in. You could take me out whenever you want, but just let me stay, like just let me be a part of it for now."
Yeah, this season's like odd in the fact that I don't recall ever like a core group like that we see right now, the 4 of Eva, Joe, Kyle, and Shaheen, go like this far and without betraying each other. Although obviously like the scenes to the next episode make it seem like someone's gonna betray somebody, or so I don't know. Stay tuned for that, I suppose. But like, I would love. I mean, we might have just see it now for a four that said so early on that they were gonna go to the end to actually just go to the end. Makes for kind of boring TV though, because there's a lot of chatter between um, from when the episode starts to the challenge to the tribal, and like a lot of that chatter just nothing happens. It just we all voted for the same person now, even though we talked about we're gonna vote out Joe because he didn't win immunity, or we're gonna
Sure.
vote out.
Well,
So a lot of you know
well,
just
two things.
boring
Like first,
boring
it's like first
TV.
of all, like the first part of that is from the perspective of everyone who's not Joe. So that's 6 people. Do you believe that voting Joe was best for, like, I guess you need 4. So was voting Joe the right move for at least 4 people today, or not today, the previous episode?
Oh, that's a great question. Because so it would have been Kyle, Mary. Oh my god, I'm drawing blanks. Camilla
Like hypothetically, if we go down the list for
and Mitch would have been the 4.
Mary, yeah, that's a one possible 4 could have been. Like for Mary, I mean, it's the only question for her is like, was Joe the right target? But other than that, like she's definitely voting against. She can't even use her shot in the dark, so she has to vote. So she's gonna vote for someone in that group, and she picks Joe. Then you get
Yeah.
Mitch. Let's say Mitch. Mitch was asked to participate in this. He chooses not to. Do you think Mitch should have voted for Joe?
I think yes. In terms of, like, I think Mitch, had he voted for Joe and Joe got knocked out, him being a PE teacher, he does pretty well in challenges. And I think, Joe and Kyla and Eva are the 3 that kind of stand in his way of being a bigger threat in those challenges. So, but also Mitch really hasn't done much in terms of, like, he's a great guy. It sounds like everyone loves to be around him, but in terms of survivor strategy, he's not really doing the whole outlast,
Yeah.
outplay,
Now,
outwit
granted,
kind of stuff.
he would
Yeah,
probably
agree.
say that this was his move. I mean, a lot of people would end up saying that if Joe was
Yeah,
blindsided.
that would be a good resume to be the one to take out Joe, because he is the one running the show right now. At least,
Whoever
like, in the core.
whoever would have blindsided, or if Joe was to have gotten blindsided, I think or maybe it happens next episode. They're gonna get most of the jury votes, in my opinion, because like you could tell that jury does not like the core 4 that's currently standing. Like
Oh, for sure.
they can't stand
Yeah.
him. So if you get 1 person turnout, you'll probably get those votes, and then I could see Joe being like, that was a great move to knock me out. You're gonna get my vote. Kind of, I could see him doing that as well. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
because
For
Joe's
them
that
not to,
guy.
I personally do want Joe to win though, because he seems like
Me
just a real nice
too.
guy. But
Me too.
but for them not to vote out Joe, I don't know. So
Yeah, so we could say Mitch. It's most likely would have been in his best interest to vote Joe. Then we have Eva. It is probably not in her best interest. I mean, I think like it's like it feels like if she does not want to sit with Joe at the end, that's like a at the last minute betrayal instead of like
yeah,
doing it.
I feel tough for her to win if it's her and Joe though.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't think
also
she's thinking like that. I
yeah,
think a lot of
no.
them are thinking like, or at least Eva is thinking like, I need these 4 to the end no matter what, and I don't care if I win, because that's kind of what it seems like.
Yeah, I feel like Eva is very loyal, and I feel like it's loyal to a fault where she does not think, like, Kyle or Shaheen is gonna ever betray them. Like, she's right about Joe, but it doesn't I mean, the way it seems like Kyle wants to betray Joe and Eva, but not outwardly doing it because he still wants to be a part of this and, like, he's wanna work with Camilla, but also, like, he knows even in this episode, he knows if it's him and Joe, he's not winning. If they're the final 3, he's not gonna get the votes. Um, which I'm intrigued if that's true because I feel like the jury don't like Joe more than they not liking Kyle in the core 4. Um, But I'm just curious on what the jury thinks of Kyle, because I feel like they don't feel anything bad about Kyle at this time. It's really Joe and Eva
Well,
that is
it's
like it.
tricky because remember, Kyle has created this deception with the help of Camilla. Them two have concealed that they are strategically aligned. So, from everyone else's perspective, he's been included in the big alliance all this time. So, there's a chance that being sick of Joe leads into being sick of Eva and Kyle and Shahid, potentially.
Yeah.
Now he might, if Kyle were to be at the end, I imagine this is gonna be a big like, guess what? I was tricking all of you. That can go well, and that could not go well. It's a dangerous final travel speech.
Yeah.
Um,
Could be respected or hated.
yeah, he's probably and Shaheen are the interesting ones. So Mary and Mitch most likely it was in their best interest to vote for Joe. That's two. Now you have, actually, and Camilla. I think probably it's in her best interest too, but she's choosing to do whatever she wants to do the same thing that Kyle does. So that's why I'm just focusing on Kyle and Shaheen right now. So you said it. Kyle believes he will lose if he's with Joe. Shaheen later in the episode believes he will win if he is with Joe. So we got two different perspectives here.
Which is interesting because I personally don't know what Shaheen has done so far. Like, I love him. I actually really wanted him to win the very beginning because I really like him. He's very funny. He's great. But although I don't see him doing a whole lot right now, even his like secret little thing with Camilla isn't outwardly out there. Like, I don't see it as much. So I just personally don't know what like most of the scene has been following what Joe says. It'll be like, we're doing this tonight. And then Joe will be like, everybody stay calm. This is okay. We're just gonna go over Mary tonight. No, nobody freak out. Like, it felt like every single time Shaheen has a moment, it's with Joe, and Joe like outshines him.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But I I right now, if they did a not a final 3 tribal, it was just the final 6 that they have right now, and any one of those 6 was the winner, I'd be happy with any of them winning, just out of the likability of the person, not in the essence of like, "Oh, they played such a great game." It was more I don't know, this group of 6 people, like, I would wanna meet them and, like, hang out with them, um, so it's tough for me to, like, think about, like, who's gonna win, who I want to win.
Sure.
Mm.
But
This my struggle with this is that I like this group of people, but as what we've seen in the edits so far, if when one of these people wins, because one of them's gonna win unless we get unprecedented madness, uh, I'm not it's not gonna give me warm, fuzzy feelings about the season. Like, I'm not gonna feel like this
Right.
season had a great winner. That's what I'm missing.
Yeah, the gameplay just wasn't quite there, which, I mean, they could be proving that you don't actually need it. You just need a good, core of people, and then you can go win it, but then, uh, how do you stand out in that core? And I feel like kinda what Angela said, that Joe is the one that stands out because he's the one kind of, like, orchestrating the moves, or is at least the most vocal in the edits. That's the way that we see it.
He is, but I also feel him. Yeah, I agree. I really like Joe, but this episode's the first time I ever see him like kind of crumble a little. Because at first he was like all calm, but the moment Mary was like, "I'm voting for you," Joe was just like, "Okay," and then like starts being like, "What am I gonna do?" She put my name on there, and everyone has a freak out because Mitch is like, "Whose name are you gonna put? You're not gonna put Eva's name." And then you're not, are you putting my name? And he's silence. And then he's like, and then he talks to Shaheen. And it's like, you don't know how I feel. And Shaheen's like, what? That happened to me twice. So like, this is the moment where I'm like, Joe, you're collapsing right now. You're crashing out. You're Daviding right now. What's going on?
All for nothing too. All just everyone wrote down
Yes,
Mary's name anyway.
yes. It was a
Well,
unanimous thing.
yeah, I wonder, is it as simple as if you think you could beat Joe, you no need to vote for him, and if you don't, you should vote for him? Because if so, then Camilla, Mitch, Mary, and Kyle should have voted for Joe.
I
And
thought
then
for sure they were going to. I thought it was
And then
happening.
Shaheen says
Yeah.
he thinks he can beat him, so he doesn't need to. Eva probably intends to be at the end with him, so he doesn't need to. And I'm missing one person.
Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch. No, actually, and I'm missing Camilla, so she should just also vote for. So actually, it should have been like 5 on 2
Yeah.
potentially.
I thought it was over for Joe to
Or no, I'm forgetting.
that
Sorry,
night.
I'm forgetting Joe himself. So yeah, there you go. He votes. So it'd be 4-3. Um, and it sounds like we're kind of in accord. Actually, Ange, you haven't like actually stated. So I think Chris and I are becoming increasingly disappointed as like the season vibes, like watching a season of exciting gameplay. It's gotten
Yeah.
like
Just
less and less.
the episode was kind of dragging on.
Yeah,
Because
I
like
agree.
a lot of talk in between the show starting to the tribal and then or the challenge and then from the challenge to the tribal, and it's just like, can we just also part of it's, doing the fantasy survivor game or ranking game,
Yeah.
whatever it's called like that. Obviously it's like I need to see if, my picks are gonna stay, or is my pick gonna win, or whoever I doubled up on points this week, are they gonna get the reward and necklace? Like what's happening, or is someone gonna play an idol correctly? And then, some of that stuff happens, but it just seems like a lot of talking.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this season has been a lot of like noise in terms of, oh, people want to do this, but then in the end, it falls so short. And then I just feel like you're right. Like in the end, nothing happens and the most predictable thing happened. So I do think this season has fallen short compared to last season, where I feel like I was never able to fully guess what was going to happen. And I feel like for last season, you gotta thank, like, Andy for that, like, those are really he made good TV, good stuff, like, Operation Italy was just one of the
Oh,
most
that was
iconic thing ever. A
awesome.
as, like, a fan of the other team, I was saddened, but also, like, amazed what he pulled out, and, but in this season, I just feel like there's a lot of these noise constantly, however, nothing's been done, and it kinda stinks. I do find that, and even, like, I just feel like there's nothing being played out either. No advantages have been played that I know of or I remember. I feel like it's less than other seasons. Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Well, yeah, because they haven't really been needed,
Yeah, one person
and
has it all.
well, and yeah, and
Throw your double points on her.
well, actually, I'm sure a lot of people either started with Eva or added Eva to their team as she gathered all these advantages. You get points if you use an advantage and or you use it correctly, but she's been hoarding them. She hasn't needed to use them, so therefore, uh, if she never uses any of these, there's going to be a lot of points left on the table. That's all I'll say there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got something for getting him in the first place.
That's true. She's been doing pretty well for me. And
What did you think
Eva's
of her
good.
opportunity this episode to get another advantage?
Oh my gosh. I was, like, telling her to stop building. I'm like, "4 is good, Eva. Get out." And I'm glad she did because this is hard. Like, it looks hard, it is hard, and going for 8 is really hard. I feel like that was gonna be impossible. Like, I
Yep.
feel like if because Mary wanted to do this because this was her last thing. Well, the moment Mary is like, "I wanna do it," everyone's like, "Oh, I wanna do it. I wanna do it." So they end up pulling rocks, and I don't think Mary would be able to pull it off. I feel like Mary would not be able to get 8, like, rows, right? I have to build it up?
Yeah, well, levels. Let's paint the picture real quick. So the boat comes, everyone comes to see what it's going to be about. It's going to be about a journey, which has now become a proper noun in Survivor like vocabulary. The journey happens, an opportunity to either protect your vote or get an advantage and other stuff. So the instructions say you must make a unanimous decision on who's going, otherwise, draw rocks. So it's going to be a random. And uh, I was about to say as luck would have it, but to be fair, the majority group outnumbers the other people, so it was more likely than not one of them was going to get it, and it turns out to be Eva. she's happy. In terms of this part, there's not much to be done. All I'll say is Shaheen throws out, does anyone want to volunteer? It's a pretty standard thing to do because sometimes you get targeted if you're the one to volunteer. It's like a trap. Mary volunteers, which is fine because she's already the target, so nothing to lose. And then everyone else correctly then doesn't let her just go, like they say, because they want to vote her out. So it would be stupid to just let her willingly go. So I think everyone played this correctly in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a smart move because if she got the advantage, that would have been very, very bad for the core four, which could have been good TV though.
It would have been excellent TV.
It would have been very amazing.
So let's talk about it. So Eva goes on the journey. It turns out to be it's going to be a challenge. It tells her that she has lost her vote for just showing up, so she's missing a vote for now. She needs to construct build a card tower essentially, but these are like thick wooden cards, so to speak, and they're on a rotating table. And she needs to build a circle like around the perimeter, and then add another level on top of that, on top of that, on top of that. And in order to move it around, because she's standing like a good space away from it, kind of on a platform, so she has to like reach forward to rotate it. She has to use her feet to spin the table. So you need feet dexterity here in order to do it. If she gets to level 4, she can stack 4 levels on top of each other. She will earn back her vote and then could choose to just walk away. If instead she continues and then is able to get to 8 levels, that stays up, she earns an advantage that is referred to as the knowledge is power advantage. And we haven't had one of these in a while. This is babies first. We might not have F on the show, but this is babies first to both of you. So as I understand it, before this episode, you had not heard the phrase knowledge is power.
Not me.
Is that right?
I do not recall hearing that ever.
Yes. So this Eva will and Mary, a combination of them, would later explain what this advantage is. Now, it's possible that by the way, Eva she successfully gets to 4 and chooses not to continue on. It's possible if she had gotten this advantage, we would have learned like, oh, it's slightly different this season, but we will never know. What it was before is you can reveal that you have this advantage during tribal council. Whenever you like, but before everyone votes. And you get to declare, Eva, do you have a blank? And you could either name a specific advantage, or you could name idol, a hidden immunity idol. The person you say it to must answer truthfully. And if they say yes, they have to hand you that thing they have. And you are now the owner of it.
Do you have to use it right away the moment you use it? Or no, you could just pocket it and keep
it? It's just yours forever now.
Wow.
Well, when you use it, do you, like, if you're wrong and they don't have whatever advantage or idol you're looking for, do you lose it then, or do you get to like kind of keep guessing?
It's like Go Fish.
No, you get one chance.
Oh boy.
But it's like obvious because then like Eva, everyone knows, so that would be very easy.
In this case, it is a very and I mean there's always going to be conspiracy theories. It just so happens this advantage appears in a situation where the advantages and idols are quite public. But yeah, in this case, it would be quite obvious who has it.
You think they don't pre-plan these games? You think they're planning it as the game goes?
Oh, they got to react to things. I mean, people get like medevaced, and then now like their vote out orders ruined because it's supposed to be like X number of people. So for that, they have to react. I mean, I'm sure they probably like know what they want to use because they have to build the thing, like the actual advantage, like they have to make it. So they can't like literally like change. Probably can't change his mind on the spot for some things.
I think
But
they like swapping out the advantage would be something easy, but in their mind, they're probably thinking, "What are the odds Eva goes on this journey?" And then,
That's
sure enough,
true.
she goes because
sure enough,
everybody knew she had an idol, so it would have been like, the perfect thing for someone else that wasn't Eva or one of the we'll call it core four to get it. Which actually, I have a question about maybe
hmm
it's the new era of Survivor, and I still haven't watched enough of it. Uh, why is nobody looking for an idol or advantage at this point? Do they just are they not
haha.
scattered anymore? Is there only like because there's one
Very,
in play?
very astute observation. So, technically, the official answer is if you're on the island, you can't know what the rules are. You probably should assume something's out there. That being said, they are drawing from the new era season's experience where the the beware advantages are not always which are the idols are not always rehidden. I'd have to look up like what percentage of them actually have been, but there there is not all like they might actually think there isn't one. Also, more specifically, the the beware. I'm trying to think of the beware advantage this season. So Eva had got stars, and that was the one on the purple tribe. The
Mhm.
others,
Kyle used his during the
yeah, got
before their full
used.
merge. It's when they mixed up.
That's right. That's right. And
And
then
then
Say, right?
oh, right,
had-
yes.
And she would end up also using it. It might be that they used them while they were on other beaches, and now they're not on those beaches. That might also be playing a factor here. Um, I think I think it's a combination of all those things. Plus, these people are just not. They're not being active as well. Like they're if you're within the alliance of four, you could argue you just shouldn't do that. That would be showing disloyalty. If you're not in that group, you should definitely be looking. But we don't see that on TV, so those are some of my theories. Technically, it's there. It could always be out there, and you should look. And yet, we
Um,
don't see that.
I just remember I think it was the Edge of Extinction season, and I won't name names because I know not everyone's
Mhm.
watched that season, and I enjoyed that season, especially since one of the contestants they were trying to get rid of them for so long, and they just kept finding idols or winning immunity or finding an idol when they had to, and they made it so far. It was awesome. Like they became like one of my favorite contestants because they kept going even though like the rest of the people were like, we just gotta get rid of them.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of why. Like, I think we're all getting increasingly down on this season. There isn't quite an underdog. And what I mean by that is the strategy that the majority, not even they weren't the majority at first, or just the only alliance was to make people want to work with them anyway, even if they're not in the alliance. So like Mitch hasn't been an underdog because he's willingly choosing to work with the group. So therefore the group is not targeting him yet. And then by the time you are targeted, no one's working with you. So like the same thing could have been said of Star. Star was also voting with them, and that was her turn, but no one ended up voting with her really. Thus she couldn't do anything about it. ... Except use her shot in the dark, which she just refused to do for some reason.
That
But
was so funny.
that's another story. Like usually you get, I think we talked about this a couple times, last couple episodes. Usually you have like a majority alliance and a minority alliance, and they're at war throughout most of the merge. And maybe at some point they dissolve and reform, etc. But we haven't really had us versus them. It's just like us versus one person, and next week it's us versus another one person. So that's maybe this is a long-winded way to say good job to Joe, Eva, Kyle, and Shaheen. I mean, this is probably one of the only ways to successfully get this big of a group this far.
Yeah, I mean they're successful in what they're doing, but I feel like they keep forgetting that one of them has to win, and they all, I would hope, have an idea of who's probably in the front runner. But as Shaheen said, he thinks he'd win, and we, sitting here just being observers, think Joe would win. So maybe there's something we don't know going on the island. They're cutting out, but I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's interesting because a couple episodes ago, Joe also would say Mitch is really good player, like he would win if he's up there. And then you're like, well, Mitch is a great guy. I love him. But I'm also like, what has Mitch done too? I feel like Mitch has done the same amount too as like
Which
Shaheen did.
he might just get votes based on that the jury doesn't hate him. So
That's true. Oh, you know what? I forgot about the jury hating them again. I forgot about
so
that.
there's that. Yeah.
Temporary. Yeah, jury management has been mentioned so much in this season, much more than the other seasons, where I'm like, I really feel like this is a foreshadowing of editing, of like something's gonna happen. Like the jury hates them. Like, what's going next? Mary is the new jury. She practically hates all the 4 people. She was like, when Joe last episode was talking to her about it, and she was like, this is like a form of jury management. I was like, oh my goodness, they're talking about it again. Do you guys notice it a lot more this season than the other seasons talking about jury management?
I see it pop up kind of like usually at the final tribal. Someone will, maybe make a passing comment about it, but for me this season, I feel like they've kind of brought it up pretty frequently and kind of early. Like I want to say one of the first or second tribals after they were adding to the jury.
Camilla.
It was
Yeah,
like,
Camilla's talking about it right
damn.
away.
I'm like, we're already talking about that this quick.
I
mean,
know.
Usually
They're
it's a mistake to talk about it that early. Like I want to know that you want to work with me, not that you're like buttering me up so you can vote me out. So I'm gonna vote for you.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Maybe
you can
Yeah,
it
always
won't
I
matter
tell.
though. Like if remember the current and now majority alliance intend to be the final 4. So yeah, Mary hates the 4 of them perhaps, but it's gonna, if that happens, then she has to vote for one of them. So if their plan works, that might not matter.
That's true,
If
but
their
I
plan
really don't
doesn't
think it's
work,
gonna I don't think it's gonna work.
then
I feel like next episodes is the episode. I feel like I say this every podcast episode, but next episode it's when
next
things will
episode,
change.
surely this time.
Yes. Every episode's like, this is gonna be a big turning point, guys. Things are gonna happen, and then it doesn't. And I'm like, dang it, never mind. But next episode, trust me on this. Big moves. They're taking out Joe or Eva or Shaheen. I think those 3 are gonna be taken out.
But
Well, it's
just do
crazy.
the math, right? Like I warned you, like 7 is usually a big moment, so they didn't do it. So now there's 4 of them, and then Mitch and Camilla. Even if they do vote out Joe, then
there's a
now there's a
path
final feedback, right?
for those 3 to still make it, because all Eva or Joe, one of them has to win the immunity challenge, and then Eva can give her one advantage to Joe or Shaheen, whoever doesn't win, and then Eva can play her idol. Like there's a lot of things that can be done that like just one of those 3 need to win immunity, and then they can make it and control or have the majority still.
Right, you're right. And presumably Final 4 is still Final 4 fire making, so you can't vote anybody out at that point. So it is more likely than not that the final tribal is 3 of the 4 alliance members right now.
Yeah, just based off of how many people are left. Now, you said that because Eva has the one where she could just leave. Like, she doesn't have to be part of the vote, she just go. So, but she can't do that and use her idol on Joe, but she can give her idol to Joe before it all starts. Okay, so that
She sure
would
could.
work.
Yep.
Wow. That's incredible.
Would be,
She's very strong here.
Or, they could go thinking, oh, we got Kyle on our side, no worries. We're going to vote out Mitch or Camilla, and next thing you know, they get blindsided. So you never know. But
Yeah, that's true. They
with the
could
way
do
the
that
season's
too.
gone, I don't want to say it's gonna be Mitch, but we'll see.
Things could happen, but I do want to pull back. In the beginning of the episode, they talk about coconut etiquette on how Mary was eating all the coconuts. I gotta bring this back because it's been bothering me. Am I wrong to say that Mary has not eaten so long? She deserves her coconuts. Let her eat her coconuts.
Well, so all right, I'll do a counterpoint. I'm sure if I was on the island and I wasn't eating, I'd think differently on this. But in I get yes, I do this sitting on my couch while I'm eating my mango sorbet. But sitting there, you're on the island, you're supposed to probably be rationing all your food. And then I don't think they should use rewards to like tie into whatever food ration they're getting because it's a reward. So if you're like,
Mm.
I mean, if you come back to camp and you're like, hey, someone, if you want my coconut ration for today, you by all means have it. Like I would expect someone to do that. Not necessarily that they have to, but like if they're trying to do jury management, that'd be a little way for me to do it. But
Here's my coconuts for
like
you. I
anyone
have
want my
picked you their
coconut? I filled up on a cheeseburger and the milkshakes, but not really feeling coconut. So like I don't know. It's tough because I'm not there. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like so if I was living off a coconut for weeks and someone's like, hey, stop eating all the coconut, like look at them with crazy eyes and be like, seriously?
Hey, I just wonder how many coconuts are there, and, like, I don't know, I felt like when we were watching it, it was, like, 2 coconuts, and I'm like, "Is it that much, guys?"
Well, I also got the way it was presented, and we do have a biased narrator here and everyone else who's not Mary. She was going rogue off of what the rations were and saying, "Screw the rations, I'm just doing them all. I'm doing all the coconuts right now."
It is her
Like, if
final episode, she thinks. Her final day here.
right, if that's the case, you're messing with my food ration, so
That's
I'm
true.
not gonna be happy.
That's true. I it was just so funny that it became a full scene of her cutting the coconuts and people not liking her coconut etiquette and how she's eating the coconuts, and I'm like
I
and
just
Mary's
like the
just
fact
living
that
her life.
they refer to it as like coconut etiquette. I'm like, I have never heard of that.
Hey, I mean, food is a great equalizer, food politics. I mean, that's through all 48 seasons of Survivor, that can get you voted out. You
It
mess
was
with someone's
also
food.
the name of the episode too, coconut etiquette.
Oh
So it
my gosh,
was.
really?
Yep.
That's awesome. Wait, I don't know why. I feel like there was more other stuff going on, but there was so little stuff going on probably. They were like, "I think we're just gonna name this coconut etiquette. We're just gonna make the internet go crazy about this coconut etiquette here."
It works.
Yeah.
I did you guys speaking of Mary still, I know Mary and Say haven't interacted in a while since Say got voted out and all that, but Mary came out and said that Say made her life living hell pretty much. Which
I believe it.
oh no. Yeah,
Say
it
less. I believe it.
reminds reminds me of the last season of Rome following around Soul, which is like I'm pretty sure that's who he followed, right? It was like Rome was just like
Oh
every
yeah.
move he
Oh
made, he was
yeah.
just right behind him. I was
Yep.
like, that would bother me so much. And then Say started to do that. I was like, oh no,
Oh, they had a full
don't do
running
that.
match too. Like
Say
Mary
and Rome
ran out
played
and Save followed
similar
her. They were
games.
having Yeah, they had, like, similar dynamic, but I felt like it was worse with Say because Say had nobody. Like, I feel like Rome had, like, Genevieve and, like, had a little bit going on with some people, but, like, Say played a game where the entire world was her enemy, and I don't think I've ever seen a survivor play be so out of touch with where they are in the game.
I really appreciated Mary like getting basically to flip Say into like them not being enemies and kind of working together, but Mary still in the back of my mind's like, no, I hate her. She's got to go. Like to her
Yes.
face, they were cool, but like she's like, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was funny because I think Say was like, "Oh, seeing Mary again, it was crazy," and then Mary's just like, "I do not wanna work with her, mm-mm," and it's smart because why would you? Why would you want to? But a part of me I read in, Reddit, it's like, I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I kinda miss the craziness when Say was here. Do you guys agree on that? Or you guys are like, "Yeah, I'm glad Say's gone."
I'm glad she's gone for the sake of she can't win. Um, but for the, like, content, for the entertainment value, I do miss it.
I feel like she could have made the revolution happen. I think she could bully everybody to make the revolution happen.
No, she would've just pissed everyone off, and they would've voted her off then. And then she'd be on the
Yeah, she
jury,
should.
and then we'd have to deal with
Oh,
that if
you know
final
what?
trouble
That's
comes.
true. That's
I mean,
true.
I'd be happy to have Say on the jury. That'd be great. I agree, though. I think she would ruin the revolution as her own revolutionaries would turn on her, and but still nothing gets done.
Ugh. The revolution not happening, again, although I love those people, the core 4, it's just, it hurts a little bit because I feel like they could have done something that episode.
Yeah, I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, the longer the season goes on, the more I'm probably gonna be like, "Oh, I'm glad you won," but that was a boring season.
Yeah,
I
that
But
did
being
we'll
think
see.
said, especially in the new era, the last 8 seasons, including this one, uh, a winner can be born quickly. So, of these 6, it is possible even someone within that group of 4 just, like, goes on their own master plan and really impresses me and wins, and if all those things happen, I might be satisfied. Um, but
Yeah, there's still time. There's definitely time to make moves.
Yeah, moves to make, relationships to make. But speaking of relationship, here's a little off the island talk segment today. So in this episode, we hear a lot about Kyle. I feel like a lot of times Kyle share a part of his story to make it and then say like, "Hey, I shared things I don't share," and kind of explore the fact that if he's close to Joe, these are true relationships and stuff. Like, how do you guys navigate with that? Do you guys share stories to make, like, you feel closer to other people? Or if you were in the game in Survivor, is that how you would make a relationship, is to share something deep, dark secret in you or something that nobody knows or not a lot of people know to that other person? Or would you be like, "Hey," like how Chris said, "I'll give you some of my coconuts, share some food." Like, how would you build your relationship with other people in real life and in Survivor?
Wow.
deep question you got
Yeah.
there.
So I'll go off the Survivor first because, like, in real life, it takes a little bit longer for me to get warmed up to people. Even, like, my coworkers that said, like, "Wow, like, the first few months, you didn't really talk, and now you just kinda you don't stop it in some meetings." I'm like, "I'm sorry, it's just, now you get to deal with this." Um, so in the Survivor world, I feel like I'd be I'm not bored all the time, but you're around these people all the time, it's quick and easy to get comfortable with them. I would just overshare with everybody. I would tell everybody every story that, like, whether or not they wanna know it or need to know it, probably not, but what else we're gonna do on the island?
Mhm. So your thing is, like, to share your stories, kinda like Kyle, where we share these stories. Would you only share it to a specific close person or specific 2, or you would just share it, like, everybody when we're around the fire, we're just gonna chat?
There would probably be a couple people I share, a little
Uh-huh.
closer stories with, but for the most part, unless I dislike someone greatly, and, like, I wouldn't tell them a story one-on-one, but if it was in a group setting, they might hear my story, but they wouldn't get that. I would be poor jury management on my part for that person for sure, but because there's some people, you just come across like, "I don't care for you, so I'm not gonna talk to you one-on-one," which, wouldn't be good for my game, but again, that's why I'm sitting on the couch watching from afar.
It could be you. We could film your audition video. No problem, Chris. I got you.
I thought this was
Apply
my
now.
audition video.
Yeah, I'll hook you up. Got the connections, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I think the key is gonna be uh on the island is gonna be your active listening. That means like granted, you gotta get in the conversation first, but you gotta own in on what the vibes of who you're with and like their stories. What do they talk about the most? And then it's time to be the most interested person ever in their hobby. Like we had a couple seasons ago a uh Taylor Swift
Oh
lover.
my
So
gosh,
so
yes.
it's time to ask him as much as you can about his passion with Taylor Swift. Even if you don't care about it, you will never care about it. It's time to be interested. And in fact,
Yes.
there have been, out of all the seasons, there are several final tribals like where you get bonus points for being able to talk about like someone else's family and like their kids and their kids' names. And
Oh,
there's
really?
also been a couple of this. It's kind of mean, but the jury will straight up. What's my daughter's name? If you don't know,
No way.
points against you. I mean that's a little extra, but getting to know them and like hopefully not talk about yourself all the time, and then at the right moment, then bam, then you bring in your own things. Uh, that strategy can work too off the island. The only thing is like off the island is probably less stressful because on the island, like I don't got I don't got like the level of stories that these people got. So it'd be hard to like they tell me this crazy traumatic story and then I have something that's like way less.
You
I
pull a
I don't know.
Zuko, that's
I,
rough, buddy.
I like stubbed my toe on the way into the airport to leave for
Yeah,
this.
no.
Like I don't.
That's
Yeah, I think
true.
the most interesting version of this was what Kyle did. 'Cause, like, there was not this episode, but uh when he was talking to Joe, he didn't randomly like have a meaningful conversation. He had a meaningful conversation to explain the way
Yes.
he was acting. And so now that's like playing some defense. Like, hey, like I I wasn't at my best, and here's why. That feels good. I really liked
Mhm.
that. So like keep something in your back pocket. And in fact, now this is dangerous. You gotta be really sure you can do this. Pulling out a white lie for that purpose could be good. You're gonna make something up, and
Oh, would you do
as
that?
long as you got it, you can't make that the story you talk about all the time because you're gonna get your story wrong eventually. But if you have one moment you want to connect with someone and you pick that moment to stretch the truth, that could be really good.
Oh man, that reminds me of one of the season we just watched, The Lie, but I won't say anything. It was season 7 about a player, but I will not share anything beyond that if you have not watched. Pearl Island is the one we watched recently, Chris.
I probably watched it when it first came out, but do not recall anything from it.
That's okay. I need you to get re-surprised because I sure was when we found out the truth, but, yeah, I don't know, Will, if you know what I'm talking
Oh
about.
wait, I think
Oh, I
I
know.
might.
Oh.
Was it about someone's grandma?
Oh my god, it was! How do you know
Oh
that?
my god,
It
yeah, because yeah, I hate that guy.
So we would learn in the end of that season that his strategy was talk about like not necessarily lying, but he talked about his grandmother a lot leading up to the day when he would lie about it. That's so I categorize that as risky because like I then it's on and we would hear people from the seasons like it's a little weird he keeps talking about this, but in the end they didn't figure it out, so they all got fooled, so it worked. It was just dangerous.
If anyone was to go around and tell like every person in a game a different story, like it would be him. Because like
Yeah. It would be.
you're like, oh, I told this person like I was a pilot. I told this person I'm a vet. I told this person that I don't have a job and I just live off the land. Like I would totally believe that. Like if
Oh,
he
that
ever
would
came
be
back for a
totally his
season,
strat.
just like Obviously, now he
Yeah.
can't do it because people know about him, but, like, if someone ever came in and did that, it was just great TV for one episode until people start connecting dots and vote them off, but
Yeah, Chris, when I watched that, I totally believed him. I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad." Like, "Oh, yeah, let him be with his friend and know more about his grandma, guys." Like, I was like, "No." And then you find out and at the moment when, like, the audience finds out, I was, like, loading, and my brain was like, "Wait, what? His grandma's alive? Like, what the heck?"
yep,
It was so
uh,
It
funny.
was a legendary moment. Probably more legendary than any of the moments of this season so far,
Yeah, which is
unfortunately.
crazy, which is crazy.
Maybe we could wrap this up by since we have. I mean, obviously, Chris has a broader knowledge to draw on here, but just, what's some of your big? What's your one biggest difference between how you're experiencing this show for the older seasons and how you're watching this season unfold?
oh, man, the older seasons, to me, I I'm alright, I'll harp on the new seasons, the newer seasons. I am sick of hearing the term superfan because we get it. Everyone likes the show. You're going on the show because you wanna be on the show. No one's forcing you to be there, so, like, we're all fans in some regard. So, like, uh, I feel like people get too hung up in, like, "I'm a super fan. I know what to do. We're gonna do this, this, and this, and people are gonna listen to me." And then, like, 2 days later, none of their plan is happening, and it's like, well, because everyone's coming in with a plan. It's like one of my favorite sayings is also, "Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face." So, happens a lot in Survivor.
Yeah,
Um,
it feels like there are a lot of super fans, you're
and,
right.
uh, I don't I won't name their name. Oh, I forgot the name of the actual thing. I'm gonna try to buy time, but one of my favorite, seasons of Survivor back in the day, um, revo revolves around a person and their, "Spies Are Us" thing. I don't know if you
Oh,
remember
yep,
that, Will,
yep,
but,
yes, yes,
uh,
yes.
I just loved that guy/character slash character because I still don't know if he's playing a part or if that's just how he lives his life, but I need more of that in my life, but, like, or in my Survivor viewership, and I don't think that'll ever happen in the new era, unfortunately.
There was like a sick joy I can get out of watching a bad Survivor player. And most of them were bad. Like, the longer the show goes on, the better the contestants are because they're all watching the show and learning. To be honest, I expect every single person on the show now to be a strategy. At least, like, they think about strategy. If we're qualifying these things, they are a super fan, except maybe Banu from the other season. But besides it, uh, even though I think he also called himself uh, a super fan. But it was cool to see, like, there are some wild seasons in, like, the teens, let's say, of, like, it's awful. The entire season is incredibly frustrating. Everyone does the wrong thing, but it's like watching a car wreck because people are trying to do things and just failing miserably.
Well, it's great when everyone's, like, or the majority of people are just, I don't wanna say bad at the game, but, like, don't really have a plan or strategy, and they're just kinda going with the flow, and it's like, you don't know what's gonna happen. It's fun.
Yeah, you like a chaotic player.
Or you have that one person that just kinda controls the whole game, and you're like, "Ah, they're gonna win unless, someone smartens up," and then nobody does, and it is what it is, but it's still fun watching the people around them.
Yeah, I don't so I have again, as you guys know, I don't remember most of the old seasons I watch or the prior seasons, but do you find that Joe being in the scale of, like, controlling this whole game, is he, like, on the scale, like, from 0 to 10, 10 being full control, 0 no control at all? Out of all these Survivor players, where is he at on the scale? Is he, like I don't think he's at full control. I feel like he's got some control, but he's like, I don't know, I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 on my scale of 10.
Sure.
'Cause he's not that he doesn't have a tight ship but he does have like a few people like Shaheen, Eva that he's able to talk to. Kyle, it seems like he has a hold of, but he doesn't. Like Kyle's got his own thing going on.
It's tough for me to rate this because I feel like until the others prove that they're not in like under Joe's control, that
Mm.
like I can't say anything other than a 10 because no one has done anything to prove that whatever Joe says, like it's happening so far. Everything that he's done, it's happened. So it's hard for me to say. He, as much as I would like Shaheen to be like, this episode, it's my turn. I'm taking control now, and Joe's reign of, well, let's say terror, just for the sake of the quote, is over. But I mean, until that happens, I feel like I have to give Joe a 10 in that regard.
Okay, I see. How
I'm
about you,
leaning. I'm
Will?
leaning that way too. The scoreboard shows it's working. The criticism you could there's a couple cracks you could say. You could say where he's in the edit the main character, but couldn't you say the same thing about Eva? I mean, no one's betraying her, and to an extent, Shaheen, and to an extent, Kyle. So there's some credit to all of them, which lessens. Like there's been people who similarly have been able to get everyone to vote his or her way, and they did it by like being like loud and being like bossy, like a villain, but they're good enough that even though like they're doing it in a way you would think they would hate it, it's like ruling by fear. Everyone's too scared to betray them because then, or betray someone they like because then there'll be this wrath and she'll be angry. He's not doing it completely that way. I'm gonna throw to give you a number. I'm gonna say 9. So what's keeping him from the 10 is I do think he made assumptions about the crowd he's with that are not usually true. In that there's people that would stay with him because of loyalty, and that there's people that would stay with him because it's best for them as well. And in most seasons, it would not be best for people to stay with Joe. And I argue in this season, it's not best to stay with Joe. But it has turned out that enough people think that way that it's worked out.
Actually, I do like that number because Joe to me seems like the guy that if, this episode they want to vote out Camilla and Kyle comes to him and is like, hey, what if we vote out Mitch instead? I could see him being like, okay, yeah, we'll do Mitch now, and then next we'll do Camilla, and not like really, put up like, no, I said we're gonna do this, so this is what we're doing. Like I could see him, being more agreeable to change where like
Sure.
some of the
And
other.
I mean, that literally happened. That was a couple
Yeah.
episodes ago. They were
Yeah,
targeting
exactly.
Camilla.
Yeah.
Kyle pitches Mary. It ends up being Chrissy, but I mean, that's what happened. Did you give a number? And she said 7.
Oh yes,
right?
a 7. I think it's a 7
7.
because I feel like he's like not fully controlling, and not have like a whole grasp of it. Like he's not the big underlying guy. I mean, he is now. Like this is starting to become a majority group, but it wasn't. And again, I still don't understand how revolution didn't happen, but it's okay. Our star is gone now. Now sitting in the jury seat with standing guy and Mary.
Hey, maybe so we can get ourselves more excited here because it's a bit of a downer. Like
That's true. That's
we
true.
like the people, but we want more excitement. So if the revolution had succeeded, I mean, it's just some fan fiction. Like, who do you think comes out and like in control or like with the best chance to win? Should at some point in the last 3 episodes that alliance had been shattered.
I think it would be so cool if Star won. If Star started the revolution,
If
and
Star got to
then
the
it would have been crazy because that is a true underdog. It would have been Star making a great relationship with Mitch and Mary and Camilla, and then later on was able to create a revolution, switch over, and also get close to Kyle because of Camilla, and then they slowly just take them all down because was it Mitch that taught Star how to swim. Like, what a great heartfelt moment there. It's like we're going with something. So that would be revolutionary. And on Reddit, everybody, again, as I say, they're saying Star should come back for 50. I don't know if this is more sarcasm or satire, but yes, that would be awesome.
Oh man, that's a tough question. I could do what if scenarios all day, but I'll just go off of the last episode because it's fresh. If Camilla, Kyle, Mitch, and Mary voted out Joe, I'm gonna say those four were the revolution.
Okay.
To me, it's tough because everyone other than Mitch, I feel like has some sort of say in this matter. Mostly because Mary's like, my neck was on the line. I made a move to get all these 3 people to join my side. Okay, yeah, great. Camilla could be like, I've had a plan all along to do this, and now the numbers are in my favor, so I did it. Okay, and then Kyle's like, I was a decider to do this flip, and I was working with Camilla this whole time. So it's like they all have like a say as to why they orchestrated the whole thing. Again, except for Mitch. For Mitch, it's just kind of like,
Poor
well, there
Mitch.
was 4 on that side. I'm the 4 on this side, so it works. So it's just which of those 3 have a bigger stake as to, the leader of that uprising. It's tough because they all, for them, they all needed to work together to get it done. Where there wasn't like, I guess, that clear defined leader. Maybe that's why it didn't happen then, because there wasn't that clear-cut leader like there is for Joe on the
Yeah,
other side.
well,
That's true.
yeah.
There was no leader, and I feel like everyone was like pointing on figures and then like didn't know where to go for. I think it really fell apart last episode when Mary was like, we should take out Kyle. And then Camilla was like, can't work with you. I can't work with you. You're too volatile. You're everywhere. Nope, not you. And then it just kind of like, what's the point of playing with this?
Yeah. I mean, that's actually happened on both sides, right? David tries to get out Camilla, and it goes horribly wrong. Mary tries to get out Kyle, it goes horribly wrong. I think I would have and it could still happen. They're both still here. Seeing Kyle and Camilla both make it to the end via intentional moves they made, like not just by chance, but they set it up, would be the most exciting like turn of events fan fiction. And right now we see Kyle more, so you would think like right now it would look like people would vote for Kyle more than vote for Camilla. But I'm just curious to see them go at it, and what argument would Camilla use? And I think that's the one. If things play out that way, that could turn things around and help lift up this season. If that would be an end of the game where none of like you would technically Kyle's there, but Kyle would argue, actually, I was never truly part of the alliance. You could try to say that.
That would be a reveal.
There's some nuance because he was a double agent. Kyle has he's betrayed a bunch of people too, so like Camilla could take advantage of that potentially, but then Kyle can fight back and say like, I always had secret information because of my spy Camilla did what I told her to do. It'd be a cool battle. So and it can still happen, but that's, I think, the fan fiction I'm most interested in.
That would be cool if those two both end up like in the top 3, but I'm just wondering like who would betray who, or is it truly they want to be in the top 2? Like I know Eva and Joe, if their ideal situation is to be final 3 together, but I wonder truthfully, does Camilla and Kyle truthfully want to be in the final 3 together? Like they could say they want to be there. So
yeah.
I'm like, do they truly feel that way?
My fan fiction is they don't, and they both take swings at each other, but like it doesn't work out for whatever reason. They both successfully defend themselves, and now they find like one person tries to get out the other, but they had an advantage to save them. And then the next week, one of them wins immunity, puts the other in fire, but that person wins fire making, and thus they're now both at the end to fight to duke it out. I would love that. That's this is gonna be so sad if none of this happens because now I'm getting myself excited. But that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I did see someone mention something on Reddit about Camilla saying that she wants one of us to make the final 3, and the person was hung up because she wasn't saying I want both of us to make the final 3. So it's like, is it
I actually
semantics?
did pick up on that. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah?
Or is that her way of saying like, I'm about to take you out and I'm choosing my words carefully so I don't say I lied to you or something. Or...
Yeah, she just didn't make any promises.
Could be foreshadowing. I'd love it.
I just thought, from my perspective, I thought she was just like, I want one of us, it doesn't, if you win, it's like I win. If I win, it's like you won, That's what I thought.
They're splitting the money?
Yeah, no.
Ooh, I'm pretty sure there are.
Is that allowed?
Once you get the money, you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, you're right.
Yes, but I do believe you can't. If it were to be proven that it was a intentional plan from the beginning, there's some penalty.
Oh,
but as long as that's not the case,
a bunch of terms and stuff you gotta agree to.
Yeah. There's just a weird legal speak to prevent truly there being collusion, but as long as it's not literally collusion, then you're fine. I mean, I do wonder. That probably had to be out. You may have seen one of the blood versus water seasons, Chris. But obviously, if we're married, we're gonna That was always an interesting concept because, of course, that those type of seasons embrace collusion because obviously, they make it part of the drama because of course you're gonna on paper work together.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard. I mean, sure, you can get 10 people together and be like, hey, if we all split it, we each get $100K. And that's a pretty good payday for being on an island for, depending on when it's 20 something days or 30 something days. It's it's not too shabby.
Yeah, it's true. You make a little deal, but gotta be a little discreet about it. But also, it's you could say that, but then there's no written contract that I'm definitely going to do that. I don't have to give it to you.
Winner just takes it all.
That's a great.
It's that's a great idea. How about I win and I'll split it all up for everybody?
Yep. I just met you guys. I literally knew you guys for a month. So if you hate me, who cares?
It's true that they don't even live in the same part of the country or something. They could be all over the state. You don't know me. You'll never find me again. Maybe. I don't know.
So it's time to lock it in. The most recent winner pick for me, since I had lost Star, I switched to Shaheen. The question is, am I sticking with Shaheen? If I change from him, I can never go back to him. And I'm going to stick with him. My reasoning here is I think, even though that fan fiction I spinned is really exciting, I think ultimately, if all out war breaks out, the group here has targeted Kyle before and Camilla. Camilla's been mentioned. Mitch is the bottom, so he's a target, and obviously Joe and Eva are targets. I feel like it is most likely for Shaheen to be the second or third target, not the very first targets. And if he rises through the ashes, perhaps with Eva and Mitch, and they're the final three, he can hope that Mitch hasn't done enough, and hope that Eva will get accused of riding coattails, and that just leaves him. He was in the alliance. He voted correctly a bunch of times. He's your champion. So I'm sticking with Shaheen. I
like it. I'm going to stick with my pick of Camilla. She is a great player. She is very strategic. She's a great actress. You can see her act throughout the entire part of this season. I think if it's anybody that's going to take their partner down, like Kyle versus Camilla versus Kyle, I think Camilla would take down Kyle before Kyle would think about taking down Camilla. That's me personally thinking that. So, and I think she plays well, and I think the jury would like her more over the core four. So I still believe in her as my winner.
Fair enough. All right, Chris, it's time. You got one chance here.
Oh boy.
Who is our winner?
I'm gonna go with Joe. This is my pick from day one. I gotta stick with him, even though it'd be fun to mix it up, but I just gotta stick with it.
I would love Joe to win. I would be so happy if he won. He deserved it.
Joe definitely has he has the, if I'm there, I have a good chance to win. And he also has a number one ally with the ability to protect him. And he has the ability to protect himself as he can win immunities. There's a lot in his favor to get there, and then a lot in his favor to win if he's there. I do worry, I don't know, we've talked about before, I do worry that he is, depending on how this plays out, will too many people feel like Joe wasn't loyal to them when his whole brand has been loyalty this entire time.
But was it just David that he's ever been like outwardly unloyal to though? Because I feel like everyone else so far has been like, I don't work with you, you're out. So
Well,
it's not
there's
like he took
everyone.
down.
There's every person who's been like temporarily adopted into their group for a vote.
I don't know, like
Then there's
temporary.
then there's also just the people that are in the game right now that clearly we can't all make it. So like, how will things play out? You mentioned
Yeah.
there was tension between Kyle, Mitch, and Shaheen all against Joe this past episode. And then
Yeah.
there's just people who are not in the alliance. They're jealous, and maybe they don't want the person who is the majority to win. So those are things that give me pause for Joe.
Yeah, I also feel if Eva gives Joe the idol to use, and that's how Joe ends up being like top 5, top 4, would that pull like the respect down from juries? You know, the jury's like, "Oh, you made it here because you were able to use an idol given to you by another player, by your ally." Like, does that make the jury respect him less as a
But
player?
you gotta think about how he got that idol. It wasn't just handed to him because, you know,
Oh,
he
it's
was gonna
because
get
his
voted up,
relationship.
but he has
Yeah,
he's got that
that's
relationship with that
true.
person. So, like, had he not had that relationship, he could have just first day talked to her, be like, "Hey, whatever, don't really talk to me. I don't wanna talk to you." Then, like, obviously, that's a bit of extreme, but, you know, had it been like that approach, then something like that never happens. So,
You know, that's
that's
true. I didn't put that in perspective like that. I like it.
put me on the
Indeed,
jury.
indeed. Now I'm curious. I will say, even though I I'm not hyped. I'm not like getting ready for what's gonna happen next. I am definitely curious. I do want to see, even in the scenario where Mitch and Camilla were to be the next two. So the 4 actually do get to the final 4 fire making. Well, all right, I'm curious. I think I'm least interested in Eva, and I am most interested then in Shaheen and Kyle, because they've both stated Kyle thinks he'll lose to Joe and Shaheen thinks he'll win. So I'm kind of interested to see that play out. We can find out if they're right or not.
That's great. I like it. I want to see what's going to happen next. Do you think the next several episodes enough for you to flip the switch on this season? Like, is you guys liking a season based off of the entire season as a whole? Or it could be kind of tough in the middle and the beginning, but as the final whatever, 5 episodes left is enough for it to be like, oh my gosh, this is a great season.
Definitely flipped on a season, like, right at the end. I think we only have, like, 2 episodes left of this season,
Oh my gosh, too.
I think.
Time went by so fast. I didn't even
So,
realize.
like, they gotta be really good for me to probably, like, flip. Again, I like the people that are in, like, the final 6, so I have no complaints with them winning, just not the most entertaining season, so but in terms of entertainment factor, there's definitely been some of the older seasons where I'm like, we're just watching it and like, episode after episode, I'm like, it's going on. Yep, they're doing the Survivor thing, and then, you know, you get some good content out of it, and you're like, all right, like, this has been a good season.
Yeah,
But I
the
don't know if 2 episodes is
last
enough.
impression is definitely the biggest impression. But usually when there's a turnaround like that, it's like it starts building up. So like, if you think a season's bad, then maybe like the merge starts getting better and better and better. And then by the time you're at the end, you actually think you're like, oh, you're already having a good time by the time you get to the finale, because it's been going up. If that happens here, it'll be like a 5, a 5, a 5, a 5, and like, oh, 8, 10, like sudden at the beginning. So we'll see. I mean, it would be crazy. Crazier things have happened. So
That's true. Can't wait to see it.
all right, everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Island Life podcast. Thanks to you, Chris, for pinch hitting for us this week.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being on.
And with that, until we speak again, ciao.